Welcome to Real Geek Media. We are here today to talk about The Acolyte, Episode 5, Night. I am Hayden Stoll. He is Christopher Michael Blake. It is June 28th, 2024. Christopher, how you doing tonight?
Not bad. But my question to you is why expose yourself now? Are you able to, and I don't mean like expose yourself as a Sith. I mean like, are you going on the subway platform with your trench coat again? Those kinds of exposing, that's some serious exposing you're doing there, Hayden.
It is. It's something that is frowned upon in many a city, many a subway.
Not New York. New York. It's accepted.
It's fair game there. Yeah, you can fit right in. You can fit right in. Oh my goodness. So here we are again. We're talking about the Acolyte.
You know, you could wear your Smilo Ren outfit there.
I could headbutt some lightsabers.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Episode 5. Let me give you the tail of the tape. Episode 5, titled Night, directed by Alex Garcia Lopez, written by Cor Adana and Cameron Squires, airing date June 25th, 2024. Okay, now this episode brings us pretty much right in from where we left off on episode 4. I feel like this could have just been one episode, but it's basically a half hour if we're lucky, if we're being generous with some of these end credits. My thoughts, this was my favorite episode of the series so far. And I think a lot of it's due to there's a lot of action. There's not as much dialogue, which is a plus with this series. And, it does not excuse the characters from making just incredibly randomly odd decisions throughout the whole episode. Tell me what you thought.
So, I actually kind of liked this episode. Again, like you said, there wasn't a lot of dialogue to it. There didn't need to be. The lightsaber duel, of course, they hyped this thing up big time, and I didn't feel like it disappointed like some people on social media did. I will say that it did kind of remind me of season 6 of Game of Thrones in Winterfell at some moments, where they're battling the White Walkers and it's just too dark, or it's obstructed, or it's not framed correctly. Woods and trees in the way. But I mean, they gave us the Jedi Kabab.
They did.
I can't complain too much about that. And I didn't know this before going into. I'm not as huge on Star Wars canon as you are. I had to learn about these things and research them. And I guess the form that Qimir is using is called Trakata.
That I don't know.
Really? So I'm
not big on the lightsaber forms.
And this is supposed to be canon, by the way. So this isn't something that Leslie Hayden just made up on the spur. This is canon. I guess it's taking advantage of the lightsaber's ability to turn on and off during combat, to throw your opponent off balance or to make them miss. It's considered dishonorable. It's deception. It's misdirection. And Jedis are not taught this technique or form at all. In fact, they kind of view it as, that's like playing dirty. Mm-hmm. And most Sith don't even play this either. They refuse to use this form either. But I guess Qimir in this episode is using this form, turning his saber on and off. And, I guess the best example of that when he kills Jecki, right? He hits the bottom of the hilt and it just shoots out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hidden. So, again, not saying favorite, not saying this is a great series because you want to watch one episode. You can go to probably YouTube and just
catch the highlight reel.
Catch the 15-minute with the 10 interruptions in between.
Yeah. Somebody will cut it down. Yeah.
But I mean, really, we knew this was. We've been talking now since episode 1. We knew Qimir was Smilo Ren, right?
Yes, it is. What is it? Qimir? Qimir? Yes, they telegraphed it the entire way to this episode. There was no misdirection. Now, I do agree with what you had brought up, that there probably is his master is somewhere. We don't think he's the final boss, so to speak. He's the Darth Maul to Darth Sidious. That's how I feel. I think that's how you feel. He's just kind of, the blunt instrument, so to speak.
Is there any doubt at this point that it's the mother?
Man, like that's like the next question as far as.
I don't think there's any question whatsoever. They gave you a nice statement in here. I'm going to read it to you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I actually wrote notes for this. This is terrible. So, while Yord is escorting Oshi away on Soul's orders, Yord says, here we go. He gets in your head and he stays there.
Right.
And Oshi responds with, my mother could do that.
Right. Yep.
Now, if that's not foreshadowing that Qimir is an apprentice and Oshi is the maid's mom, is the master, I don't know what does.
Right.
I mean, basically, they're laying it out there just the same way they did with Kmart. I don't know his name.
Yeah.
They laid it out there the same way.
Yep. They dropped same style hints earlier in the series, and payoff, however you want to call it. Like some of this stuff is pretty obvious, right? They're not very subtle about it. So I would not be surprised if you hit the nail on the head with that at all. Like, but they put that piece of dialogue in there, and it's in a scene with one of the most annoying characters in Yord and Osha, and you're just like, you might miss it. That's how obvious it is that this dialogue is out there. Now, beginning of the episode, we have Osha waking up, and you had mentioned about like some of the viewpoints as far as this lightsaber battle, and the first thing we see is Osha's viewpoint of, she sees one of the dead Jedi, and then she sees the combat going on, and I don't know if that was like the best choice to put it as her point of view. We could have just really gone right to the action over there, and he makes quick work of 5 of these Jedi, which they're down to now: Soul, Jecki, and Yord. We see some cutting back and forth. He's running around. I gotta ask the question though: what is going on with May in this episode? I am just dumbfounded at her decisions, because in episode 4 she's like, I'm gonna turn myself in. So Jecki runs into her literally in this episode, and she starts fighting and resisting being taken in. Am I missing something?
I want to go back just 1 second here. Just one. ScreenRant.com. I've been subjected to their feed all week. I'm glad you're laughing at this. And they compared this episode to the best episode in season 2 of Game of Thrones, which was the Red Wedding.
No.
Yes, this is like, oh my god, so many characters that got killed off. This show's Red Wedding.
Oh, boy.
And I don't see it as that you got 5 people who you've really never seen before.
Nope.
Jecki's been annoying this entire time, and Yord's kind of had a question mark over his head the entire time.
Yeah. I feel nothing for those characters.
Going back to what you were saying about May now, I had written down the same thing. May goes from killing a Jedi. Then she wants to reunite with her sister and turn herself into the Jedi. Sets up Qimir. Leaves him to hang.
Mm-hmm.
Then, during this battle, fights Law Officer Jecki, who's Mirandizing her the entire time.
What is that?
Telling her all the crimes she's committed while she's having trouble getting the hand restraints on her. Instead of just focusing on what she needs to do at this point.
Just subdue her.
And then she goes on to impersonate her sister after knocking her out. I kind of feel like make up your mind. I'm going to tell you because I wrote this down. She reminds me of the Jack Nicholson statement from As Good as It Gets. And in case you haven't seen the movie As Good as It Gets, he's an author. He's highly successful.
Right.
He writes a lot of novels. And one of his biggest fans comes up to him and says, "How do you write women so well?" He says, "I take away reason and accountability." And that's how I feel. This is like...
what is
you
happening?
have no idea which way she wants to go today. Can someone please give her some pills? That's how I feel.
Yes.
Do they not have pills? A long time ago. I mean, I don't know.
It's not logical. None of that character's decisions are logical. None of them. It's just, it's wild. And Qimir is chasing her down to catch her and kill her because she kind of went back on their agreement, right? So during some of these fights, he gets wind of her and he's leaving fights to go chase her down. And, it comes to a situation where Soul is there and, he's kind of, I don't know. It's, well, before the one with May is the one where he grabs Osha. Now, explain this to me, right? End of episode 4. He's standing right in front of Osha. He could have just killed her right off the rip. And he tosses her into the woods. So now in this episode, he's running her down, throwing his lightsaber through the woods after her. Why? You could have just killed her on sight. So that didn't really make sense. Anyway, Soul interrupts that fight, or that he jumps in the way that blocks the saber. Now they're having a little back and forth, and Qimir is trying to expose Soul at this point. Okay. I don't know where they might, or how Qimir knows some things, or I guess he knows the truth of what happened on Brendok, and probably through May, but he's setting Soul up to for Osha to cast doubt on him, right? But he could have killed Qimir at one point in this fight. Like, how stupid are you? Kill him. He has the lightsaber to his throat, and Osha's like, no, he must be kept alive. He must stand trial. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's just dumb decisions left and right, interspersed with some decent lightsaber fights.
I think the dumb decision of them all, which makes no sense, and it's even bigger than this. It's bigger than the Qimir. It's bigger than Jecki. Is Yord. Yord's running. I mean, he gets the order from Soul. Take her back to the ship.
Right.
Save her. Save yourself. He's telling her the whole way, no, we have to keep going. We have to keep going. And then, for no apparent reason, he took the same pill that May's taking.
Yeah.
It says, oh,
sure, let's run. Let's
go back. It makes it excellent, because you made a great point. I mean, I've always seen 5 people die, and I know there's only 2 people left, but, I think I need to go back.
It makes, if they've done anything with Yord, it's they've made him very much by the book, right? And that is a perfect example of, like, what? Like, this is the one guy that is going to follow orders. The one singular Jedi in this scenario that will actually listen and follow through with an order. He's the guy. And like you said, yeah, he could have used the Force on Osha to subdue her like he threatened, but he didn't. He just ended up running around, with his little bug lightsaber through the woods. I don't know. Like, this, I did like the scene where, when we got actual, the view of the actual fights. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a good duel. Some of the stuff was interesting. The helmet that deactivates the lightsabers, I thought was kind of cool.
You know what that's called, right?
Cotosis. Yeah.
Yes.
And
this is. I don't think there's an R. It's Cotosis. At least that's the way I wrote it down. I could be spelling that wrong, but I guess there's also armor that shorts out lightsabers.
It's
And
all
that's also from canon, I guess.
this is all stuff from the Legends, which is not the Disney stories. This is all the stuff pre-Disney, but they're starting to work some of that back in. I thought that was interesting. You know, you see a lot of stuff online. It's like, oh, this is stupid. I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay, and it makes this character, this Sith character, a little bit unique. I didn't mind it. I thought he was the strong point of the episode. You know, even the performance he gave when he's, you know, unmasked. Though some of the dialogue makes very little sense, and we have banter like, you know, why would you reveal yourself? And he goes, well, I was wearing a mask. I mean, this is like what the dialogue is reduced to in this show.
So, this is from Screen Rant. I'm going to quote them. This is from Molly Brazel at ScreenRant.com. And in the article, it's people are crushing hard on Qimir Sith Lead. And I guess now I can count you in their camp as well.
Oh boy, crushing hard.
Crushing hard. And she goes on to say that much of this is because of The Stranger, which is his title in the episode, and Jacinto's excellent performance in the role, which is already has audience demanding an Emmy nomination and a minimum.
Oh boy, that's a
and I am
stretch.
Sitting there thinking, have you not watched the previous 4 episodes at this point?
Listen, he
hasn't fooled anybody.
No, and
if she was fooled, I'm sorry to hear it.
You could see these people. Some of these people that write these articles are they're just not in touch with reality, right? This is not a good show. This episode was good, but that's like saying, you know, it's a 2 out of 10, where the other ones were like half a star. You know what I mean? Like it's good in that sense, right? It's the standout episode, yeah, because there's action, right? It's not really because it's so well written, you know. And his dialogue, his you know, banter with Soul and you know, is not well written, but that the actor does what he could with the role. I'm not faulting him. I thought he was fine. Like I said, I have issue with the writing. I don't have a problem with the actors. I think, you know, the actor for Soul, the actor for Qimir, the actress for Jecki was fine. The character was annoying. I didn't mind the actress. She was very good in the stunts and the action. You know, she held her own. And you see people saying, well, she's a Padawan, she shouldn't be able to do that. Well, you know, Obi-Wan did that in Phantom Menace. So I don't have a problem with it. You know, she was in her over her head and she was killed. I don't have a problem with that. I'm actually happy to see this again in Star Wars, as opposed to in Obi-Wan show where people are getting run through with lightsabers and they come back 3 episodes later. Same thing in the Ahsoka show. At least in this show, you're dead. You know, you're keeping true with like a lightsaber is a fatal wound. Okay. I don't know. Like, where are we going to go now? Okay. They do the old Parent Trap switcheroo at the end, which, again, I'm not... how does Soul not sense that that's her?
I got you one better here, but I got to go back to Jacki's death real quick.
Yeah.
Because I wrote this down. It's when one lightsaber to the chest just doesn't work anymore. So, just my opinion is I think that, and again, he's been probably the strongest character in the entire show so far. It's been Soul.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really fault him at any point, other than the fact he's hiding some kind of secret from Osha.
Right.
He's part of this Jedi that feel terrible about something that happened, and I think they used some kind of mind-altering trick on Osha and something else probably happened, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But he's a total mess in this episode, and I'm going to break it down to you why.
Yep.
The end of everything happens. Qimir gets taken off by the lightning bugs, and he just doesn't care about his dead Padawan.
No.
He doesn't care about the dead Jedi that are like all over the place. He doesn't care about their bodies or burials. He doesn't even care about retrieving their lightsabers.
Right.
which I guess are supposed to be, they're like pretty important, or they're artifacts.
Right.
They're,
I mean, you wouldn't want that to fall into anybody's old hands.
right. The appearance of a Sith is supposed to be the mark of their extinction. It's supposed to start the clock, right? And do I have that correct? Like, this is supposed to be like a monumental,
significant moment. Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just fought one and barely survived. He's watched everybody get wiped out. He doesn't care. He's like, oh, we gotta get back to the ship. And now, meanwhile, May, who you said force pushed Osa, knocked her out, took her clothes, did the haircut. Doesn't she have a scar from the?
She's got the little
spiral.
Yep, right on her forehead. How do you not see it?
And again, I'm not. Soul's been through a lot at this point,
right?
And the only person who knows is Richard Gere's gerbil.
That's right. That's right, Basil the Otter.
So again.
Well, here's another.
They almost make it look like a fool at this episode. I hate to say that, but they took the strongest character.
Yeah.
The one who's been. I know something's going on. I know we gotta get there. We gotta find out what's going on. He's been almost. I don't want to say one step behind at every point. Even telling the council that you're wrong, and I have to get over there and get to this Wookiee before they find him. And you need to keep quiet about this. And now they just kind of just like, maybe not so much right now.
I think it was either at some point in episode 1, it might have been episode 2, when they have Osha when she's with the Jedi, and Soul notices the tattoo on her arm, and we see it again at the end of the episode where Qimir is putting his cloak over Osha, who's he just healed her with the Force, and now he's putting his cloak over her. He's standing over her, much like Obi-Wan did with Luke, much like Darth Sidious did with Anakin. He's doing the same thing. Now, I got to think at some point when they're on the ship, and she's either taking that civilian robe off, and Soul is going to notice the tattoo's not there, and he's going to be like, uh-oh. I got to think that comes into play. Why bring it up in episode 2? But this is what this show does. Like you had said earlier, they plant a little piece of dialogue, they plant a little piece of something, and it's going to come back around. That tattoo was front and center again at the end of this episode. I got to think that that's going to be like his oh crap moment in episode 6, that he's got the wrong one. But I'm not sure. It's little things like that annoy me with the writing. Like it's just so basic level, like you're trying to be clever, but you're not. It's, what I mean? Like it's just so bland. Well, let's put a little, Chekhov's gun, and, we're going to bring that back later. Episode 6. Yeah. Big surprise. Like that's, I don't know. It's so lazy. It's so lazy. Whatever. Exactly.
So I really don't know what to tell you, but again, is this a good show? No. Do I? I mean, I also read it this week. There was a lot of online hate towards the people they call them online bullying and deliberately trying to downgrade this show. And my first comment to them is have they tried watching this show?
Yeah, this is not Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, this is not that. This is not deep. This show is so, like, what is the point? Like, I mean, to make that argument, it's easy to tell who is shilling for this show and who is not. All you got to do is watch it. All you got to do is watch it.
I don't know what you could do, man, at this point. I really don't.
Christopher, I have for you via Variety. This is presented by Luminate. This is streaming numbers from June 21st through June 27th, 2024.
Is this episode 4?
This is the Acolyte overall.
Okay, give me the numbers. I'm very interested to hear this.
Okay. Estimated minutes watched from that week, June 21st through June 27th. Minutes watched. on the money. It's 232.2 million minutes. This comes in of the streaming shows that qualify. This is number 9.
Is that just for episode 1?
This is for the series overall.
Okay, so I got to do some math. I got to get my calculator out.
So this is through episode.
You said 233 million?
232.2 million.
All right, so 233 million. Okay, I'll round it up here at this point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
And this came in at 9th place. They gave us the top 10. 232.2 million. It is ahead of Bridgerton season 1.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which is still raking in. I mean, if Bridgerton season 1 is coming in at 10, Bridgerton season 2 is coming in at 8. Okay, and they're all about the same. 233, 227. Okay, do you want to know what number 1 is on this list? Any guess? Oh, we lost Christopher. Let's get him back in here.
So go ahead. You were saying.
Okay, so Bridgerton season 2 is 8. Bridgerton season 1 is at 10, right? And they're all numbers that are similar to the Acolyte. Do you want to know what number 1 is on this list?
Go ahead.
Number 1 is Bridgerton season 3. Would you like to know estimated minutes watched in that week span?
Go ahead.
1 billion.
Wow. So now I just did the math real quick. Okay, this is for the entire first 4 episodes, right?
This is only from that week, though. Yes.
Okay, so just that 1 week, 233 million divided by 30 minutes per episode. That's basically 7.7 million people watching.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we got to divide that by, we'll say 5, right? Because there's 5 episodes. That's really only 1.5 people watching. That's not terrible. It's not terrible.
It's not. I'd be curious. They're like in danger of popping out of the top 10 of this list here. They're coming in at 9. Like I said, Bridgerton's is right on their heels. Season 1 of Bridgerton. I don't know. The numbers are interesting when you look at them, when you hear them. I don't know. Like this show is just not, I think, as groundbreaking or as monumental as I think the people that created it think it is. It's just not. And when the Nielsen data comes out, I'd be curious, episode by episode, to see where it's kind of going up and down, and either falling out of a top 10 or where it stands as it runs its course. I don't know. When this list comes out next week, I'd be curious, because you're going to have House of the Dragon on there, and that's probably going to eat up a lot of viewership. And that might be the sound that the Acolyte makes on its way out of the top 10. We'll see. It's just, I don't know. So what do you think where do you think this is going? Where do you think this is going? I think this was the big action episode. I don't know if we're going to get a whole lot of grandiose fights the rest of the way. I don't know.
From the writer standpoint in me, I think you're going to have a little bit of a role reversal at this point, where it's going to be Osha now taking on the apprenticeship role from Qimir, and he's going to somehow fix her mind, the quotations fix,
mm-hmm.
and restore her memory as to what really happened. How they're going to do this in 3 episodes, I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that the cliffhanger for episode 8 is going to be the reappearance of the Master Mother.
The Mother's back.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that May, on the flip side of that, Sol will figure it out. He'll only play dumb and patsy for so long. Either the gerbil tells, or he figures it out from the tattoo, like you said, or the non-spiral on her head.
Pick one.
And I think that she initially will be taken hostage, and then, hey, I'm on your side and I can help you type deal. and that will start some kind of fight between the new apprentice and the old one. So again, that's just my guess on where it's
Yeah.
going. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. Again, it's just the writer in me. You're asking me where it's going, but I think that the appearance of the mother, because they're going to want a cliffhanger to bring you back for a second season.
All but inevitable at this point. I don't know if season 2 is a guarantee. This show, people don't like it. Star Wars fans are I mean, you could tell the ones that say, hey, this part of that episode is good, but the show as a whole is, just not it. Like you could tell the shills, you could tell those, you could tell who's being honest about it. It's just not it. I don't know. We'll see about season 2, but I have to agree. I do think, Osho is going to take on that role. And I think it's going to be as a result of, like you said, he's going to unlock whatever block that the Jedi put in there and show her the truth or tell her the truth about what happened there. And that's where we get the big flashback. I feel like that's just inevitable at this point. We're going to see what happened. Somebody took over the Jedi and just had them slaughter everybody. That might be what happened. That's what I think is going to happen. The way they entered Torben's head and they kind of mess with him for that brief moment. I think we're going to see that on a big scale, and it's going to result in, a lot of carnage that we didn't see in, that episode 3. That's what I think. Whether that's going to be good TV, I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath.
I think it's going to be tough for them to finish this up all the way through and answer all these questions in an 8-episode season.
Yeah.
And again, I think that they're going to try to leave you with a huge cliffhanger.
Let me ask you this. Are half-hour episodes doing it for you here?
I think it's just the right amount of time.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to see this any longer.
I feel like...
I have to. I don't want it to be any longer than necessary at this point.
Well, at this point. But as a whole, like if you're sitting down and I mean, what the budget is per episode, right?
$22 million?
For a
$180 million for 8 episodes, yeah.
For a 30-minute episode, I just don't feel like it's just enough. This episode 4 and 5 could have been one episode, and it's directed by the same guy, right? Like I feel like they filmed it as one, they cut it in half. I don't know. It's just weird. Now, episode 6, we got a new director in place for that one, and that's Hanel Culpepper. Yes, to the rescue. Let me give you some of the episode or the shows that Hanel Culpepper worked on: 90210, Parenthood, Criminal Minds, Revenge, Grimm, and Star Trek Discovery. When I read Star Trek Discovery, I don't need to read any more. I know it's going to be terrible. We'll see.
She's got a strong fantasy background, and look, I mean,
she's also directing the finale.
Okay, I mean, look, I don't know her. I really just I don't know what to tell you. It's just I'm not. You asked me if a half hour is too long. I think it's just right for this show for right now. I think that they way overpaid for it. Look, you told me that most of that money for this went to their training for the lightsaber duel. I could believe that for this episode. However, they got away using the same soundstage.
Oh, man.
For the last episode. So, really...
Well, let me say this to you.
I'm wondering, where did the rest of the budget go?
Let me say this to you. They're going to be back on this planet. Okay? If, in my mind still, they can't get off this planet. They can't leave this planet. They cannot get back to the Jedi Temple because now you're really screwing up lore. You're really screwing stuff up the second that happens. Right? Like, so I don't know.
Shame on you, you ableist.
Now, we see in the trailer for this show, we see...
Jedi, Kundai Min, or whatever his name is, he wasn't that important to begin with. And, you're trashing this entire show based on one statement.
Hey,
how dare you?
Hey, listen.
You're a lorist.
In the trailer, we saw Master Vernestra with her lightsaber, and it looks like it's on this planet. So at some point, she's showing up to jump into action with her lightsaber whip. And it looks to me like it was on this planet. So you're going to have the same overused set again, if that's the truth. If that's the case. All you got
to do is put the same set with the different lettering.
Yeah, just turn it around, twist it, shoot it from a different angle.
No one's good, no.
Yeah. I guess we're going to see. I don't know. Any final comments on episode 5?
Yeah, I got one last one. So it's just my opinion that this was probably the best episode. I didn't mind so much episode 4. I came out and said that last week. This entire thing has had problems. So, again, this wasn't terrible. It's not something that I would probably watch. Otherwise, I still haven't finished The Bad Batch. Much rather watch that. You've been telling me about Andor now for quite a while. I'd much rather watch that.
Yeah.
But then again, I also feel like House of Dragon Season 1 wasn't that strong either. Season 2 so far has been a little bit better. So, I'm willing to take things as it comes. Let's see how right I am. I think that's what I'm wanting to see in the next 3 episodes is how right I am with where this is going. Because, again, I do believe AI really helped them write this entire season. And the fact that they really are putting things out bluntly, like these Easter eggs.
Yes.
And what's coming out, and the bad dialogue, and it's inappropriately timed. That's my gut feeling is that this was written by AI, and AI is still kind of working on figuring out and navigating human emotions and storytelling. It will get there. If this is where it's at now, it will get there in 5 years, hands down. It'll be stronger than anything that we're writing as people. It's just a shame. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I agree. This was the strongest episode in my opinion, and that's a lot of it due to the action. And I thought the lightsaber fight was fine. I enjoyed it. That was exciting. It was, fast paced. You kind of knew what was going to happen, but it was still a shock to some degree when they're killing the Jecki and Yord. I felt like they didn't do enough for really people to care about these two characters really at all. But they were quite annoying in the show, but still they were named characters that we did spend time with at some point throughout this journey. So nice to know that lightsaber wounds are now fatal again. Good to see that, but we'll see what's in store for episode 6.
Look, and because again, I don't want to be the hater that's online. I don't do that. I sit there. If you do something good, I'm going to tell you did something good. Jecki and Qimir, they both did a great job with the
fight was great. Yeah.
Again, it's a huge difference from the Matrix scene in the first episode with May, basically climbing the stairs to get to Carrie-Anne Moss, where I'm like having a flashback of everything that's going on so far. The ninja approach. Didn't seem like it was ninja. This seems like it was Jedi to me, which was a huge improvement. It was something I think that if you're a Star Wars fan, you've probably been asking for at least.
Yeah.
You can trash it or not. I got one question for you, Hayden, before we call it a night. Because I saw a lot of online polls this week.
Oh, we did have one too.
Oh well, okay. Well, I want to get to that too. But
yes.
Where do you rank this on a scale of 1 to 10? This is one episode, not the entire show, not the entire season. This one episode.
This one episode on its own?
Just 1 to 10.
Oh, man. I think action-wise, I give it a 7. I enjoyed the action. Action combined with plot and dialogue, I'm going to give it a 5.
So I gave it a 7 overall. I would even give it a 7.5. If it was just a standalone episode and I didn't have to sit through the last 3 and I didn't have to know who these characters were, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Been a lot more pleasurable for me. I saw a lot of hate with people giving this scores under 4.
I don't.
And I disagree with that.
It wasn't that bad. It was not that bad of it. Like the best thing it had going was it was just action packed, right? There wasn't enough time to really dig into the dialogue. I mean, there's here like at the end of the episode is where you get most of it, but the action was good. It was good lightsaber combat action.
They made me go out and learn about Trakata, about Cotosis,
Right.
about why lightsabers are going. They made me want to go out and learn that.
Right. Yeah.
So
listen, they did their job in that respect.
I gotta give them credit for that.
Yeah.
They did do that. So again, I'm not sitting here telling you how. Again, the characters and the writing aside, the development, okay. But like you said, the action from a pure, just sitting down and not taking anything for face granted. Just let me sit here for a half hour and binge watch. Entertaining.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Entertaining.
And some of the things that are coming out online, you see like the training videos that the actors did to prepare for the roles. And listen, hey, hats off to these people. They're doing it themselves, and it looked good. It looked good. We ran a poll and asked people if they liked this episode or if they didn't like this episode. Poll was split right down the middle, 50-50.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised. I really thought it would have been a lot. I mean,
what? Yeah, it was. I was surprised too. I would have thought more people would have liked this episode compared to some of the stuff we've seen in this series, because this was easily the best episode for me.
Okay.
But we'll see what's in store next week.
Now we're back on Wednesday with Speed.
Yes. Stay above 50, Christopher.
I gotta warn you, Hayden. Podcast started under extreme circumstances. Never make it. They don't last.
Next thing you know, we're doing it on a cruise ship. How'd they not make a part 3 for this with Keanu and Sandra Bullock?
They're talking, don't believe it or not.
Well, we'll talk more about this next week. Until then, we'll catch up on the Acolyte, and then we'll see you on Wednesday for Speed, and at some point for the Acolyte recap.
I'm serving Jedi Kababs tonight.
I'm coming over.